That's me growing up in North suburban Georgia, where I grew up playing team sports all throughout my childhood. Unfortunately, I had some injuries that derailed me from ever getting a chance to play the game I love for even longer. Eventually, when I was in college, I started playing individual sports that I loved. And then after that, I became a firefighter. But there was just something that felt missing in my life. And I decided to pack things up and move across the country to Colorado, but something still felt missing. Then I came across a Brad Owen video where he went to Vegas on a whim, and I decided to do the same thing. And from then on there, my life changed. I had the biggest cash session of my life. And then I decided to enter a tournament in Blackhawk, Colorado, where I won it for $6,700. From then on, I knew I was hooked. See, life isn't just about making moves. It's about chasing the moments that make you feel alive. And this is me. What's up, everybody? So just got off work, came to the gym, and just get into a little routine before we go up to Blackhawk. Wasn't expecting to play one more time before we go to Vegas, but I ended up getting that video out pretty quickly. So it's like, I can go one more time. So pretty stoked about that. We're gonna play some 1-3 cash at Bally's. And I wanted to say, I think having a routine before you go play is good. I wanna say Jason Su just kind of mentioned it in his book, but if you get into the habit of you have to do this routine every time before you go play, what happens when you don't do this routine? Are you gonna be off? Are you gonna not play as well? You know, are you gonna feel off balance? So I think having the routines is great, but you also can't abide by if you miss the routine, you're thrown off. I think that's the most important thing. So, I mean, I still love to come to the gym before I go play, but if I'm feeling extra tired, I'm not gonna go to the gym before I play specifically. You know, sometimes you just gotta get it in because you're gonna be tired. You gotta get in that gym session, but that's all I got to say. See you up on the hill. Let's get it. All right, so plans kind of changed. We register in the $200 Sunday noon. That fields about 100 entries. And as everyone knows, tournaments are my favorite type of poker to play. So I was really looking forward to this when I got to the casino and saw it was going on. First level, we fold a bunch of hands until we finally pick up a hand on the button where we pick up ace-10 off. But mistake number one, there was an initial raise to 2,000 from an early position player, and this was a big raise for him. And I mean, it's about a 7x raise. We decided to 3-bet to 5,000, and he's gonna call and come along. And he makes a decision pretty quickly after double checking his cards. So I mean, you can 3-bet ace-10 off here on the button, but you're facing an early position raise, and on top of that, he sized up so big pre-flop. So we go to a flop, which comes Queen Jack 3 as we flop the gut shot where a king would give us a straight, 2 diamonds out there. He checks things over to us, and we're gonna continue for 4,000 here. And we're just slowly building up this pot. So this is a big one here in level 1. And here comes the turn of a board pairing 3. All right, he checks things over, and we're gonna check things back to him. And the river comes a ace of diamonds. So the backdoor, the flush draw does get there, but now that we have top pair, we're just gonna decide to lead out here, and we bet 7,000. He doesn't think too quickly before he raises us to 16,000. So pretty big pot brewing as there's 41,000 in the middle. I believe him though. I think he's very strong. A river raise here. We show our ace, and he shows an ace as well. And I'm thinking he definitely had the better ace here. Maybe some 2-pair holdings here, maybe some ace queen. But we're gonna move on to the next hand where we pick up ace-9 suited. Now about 38,000 in our chip stack. There's a limp, a raise, and a call from us. So the flop comes ace-jack 3 as we flop top pair. There are 2 hearts out there. We bet pretty small here of 500. Blind levels are 100, 300, 300. And the turn comes in 8 of spades. So this player, he V-pipped a good bit of his hands, and we're gonna bet 1,500 this time. And he's gonna quickly make the call here too. So we're going to a river with 6,300 in the middle, and the river comes a 10 of hearts. So the flush does get there, we check. And it's gonna be coming our way as he had ace 4, I believe. And we had the better kicker. And now we're in middle position where we pick up ace 10 off once again. Ace 10 off for me is just a difficult hand to play and to navigate through, because it is a good hand, but it's just it's not the best ace. But we raise things up first in, and we get 3-bet to 5,000. So we're just gonna look at our cards once again and decide to make the fold. So we don't get in trouble on this hand. We just, min raise, get 3-bet, and we're gonna move on to the next hand where we pick up ace 9 suited once again. So we have ace 9 of clubs here. We're in middle position. We're not gonna do anything too tricky here, as there is a under the gun raise, then a call, and we're just gonna decide to flat as well and see what the flop brings us. So we make the call, and we're going, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ways to a flop, including ourselves. So pretty heavy flop here, and we flop a 2 pair as it comes ace 9 deuce 2 hearts, and it's gonna come to us, and we decide to just bet 3,500 into 5,200 here, as we'd like to get a caller, evaluate on what goes on the turn here, and we're gonna collect all folds. So we're really trying to build that chip stack back up after we lost a pretty big hand with that ace 10 off on the button after 3-betting. So now we're under the gun where we pick up ace 7 suited. So we are picking up a good bit of ace X suited hands. We raise things up under the gun, blind levels 300, 600, 600. As we are in, I believe, level 3 in this moment. And this is a tournament where you start off with 55,000. Great tournament. First place is gonna be about $5,400. So there's a call from the under the gun 2-player plus the big blind. We're gonna go to a flop, which comes jack 7-6. So we flop middle pair here. The big blind's gonna check it, we check it, and the under the gun 2-player who flatted also checks it as well. And the turn comes a queen of diamonds. I feel like I played this one pretty passively, but we go check, check again, and the under the gun 2-player once again is going to check as well. And the river comes a king of clubs, so not the cards we really wanted to see. So it checks around, and the big blind just instantly folds, and we are good with our pair of 7s. So not picking up a big pot here, but trying to bounce back, and we drop some chips after a couple raise first ins, see a flop, and nothing crazy happens, and we just lose out. But this was a weird hand. So we're in the small blind with ace queen off, and there's an initial raise from the under the gun 1 player, and then a call, a call, a call, and another call by the button. Wow, okay, so we have ace queen off. It's a small stakes tournament. There's gonna be a lot of flats, but I don't know what to do here. I decided to raise things up to 10,000, which is the amount that's in the pot. And we're gonna fast forward here as there's just a lot of action that's going on. So it gets back to the initial raiser who decides to just cold call my 3-bet, and the other players fold until it gets to the button, who starts counting out his chips. And now that I see him counting out his chips, I think he's probably gonna just shove. And it's very interesting that he didn't raise whatever hand he had when there are already other players that were raising. So is he trapping with something like aces or kings? So he counts out his chips, and he's gonna have us covered. So we could be battling for our tournament life here. He ships it all in, and we're gonna quickly fold. And it gets back to that initial raiser who makes the call. I believe he had something like ace jack off or ace jack suited. And the player on the button ended up having pocket 6s. And I wanna say he flopped the set, so we would have been flop dead. But moving on to the next hand where we pick up pocket 10s, we now have a stack size of 34,500 roughly. And there's gonna be a initial limper, and we're gonna raise things up with our pocket 10s here to 3,000. It's gonna get to the big blind who decides to just make the call and come along. So we're going to a pot of 10,000. We're really trying to get some chips back. It's still very early in the tournament as levels are 400, 800, 800. And the flop comes deuce 4-5, where this is a flop that does favor the big blind range as he just continues when we make our initial raise. And we bet out 4,500 here. And the big blind is going to jam his stack in. I believe he had about 7,000 or so. So we make the call as we have the overs and he turns over 10-6. So a 3 will give him the nuts and it comes 8 of clubs and then an ace of diamonds as we scoop. And we get about starting stack back. Big time hand there. You gotta win these hands. And now we're in the low jack with king, queen suited. Blind levels are 500, 1,000, 1,000. There's a initial limp and then a limp call. So with us, we're gonna raise things up to 4,000 as I like to always add a big blind whenever there's an limper. So we would usually raise to 2,000 here, but we add another 2,000 for 2 limpers. And a player who just sat down raises it up to 20,000. All right, so I have 45,000 in my stack here as I don't want to call here and be left with just over 20,000 chips. So it's kind of a tough spot where I'm either folding or jamming. And man, I decide to just jam here and I think things over. I just go for the 4-bet jam for our remaining stack. I say all in, he instantly calls. We're not in good shape as we are up against pocket queens, so we need a king or spades. And it comes ace, 7, 4, 1 spade. Come on, do a spade on the turn, 6 of clubs, 3 of diamonds, we're dead. He had us covered as he was starting stack and we were under starting stack, so big time L there. Now we're gonna decide what to do. Do we play cash or do we go home and just wait for Vegas? Well, I'm not a quitter. So we're going to play cash. We buy in for $300. First hand, we pick up ace deuce suited and there's a straddler and we are gonna play aggressive here and just raise things up and we get all folds. Let's tip the dealer $1 there. In the next hand, king, queen suited, we are now at $315 or so. We raise first into $10 and we're gonna get a call from an in position player. I do like sitting in front of the cards here because it makes things really easy to track what cards come out with me not having to go back in my phone and record them. But it's a great flop. Ace, jack, 4, 2 clubs. We have a gut shot to the straight if the 10 comes, and then we have the flush draw. So great, turn comes a 9 of hearts. There's 44 bucks in the middle. We're gonna decide to just check things over with this turn. I do think about betting, but I decided just, let's check it. As if he has an ace, he's never folding. We don't wanna get raised, so we wanna see what he prices things out. Sure enough, he bets 15 bucks, we make the easy call, and the river comes a jack of hearts. We consider bombing out here, but we elect not to, and I think I would have liked like a $45, $50 bet here, but we just check, he checks, and he shows an ace. So he's gonna get the better of us on this one, and now we move to the next hand where we pick up ace, king suited. Love to see it. Most pretty hand in poker is that ace, king suited of spades. There's an initial limp, so we're gonna raise things up to $15. This is just what we're gonna do in our cash games. We keep our bet sizings similar, but when there's limpers, we're gonna add on. Well, he decides to come along, and the flop comes 10, 6, 4, 2 hearts, and we're just gonna check things, and it goes check, check, and the queen of diamonds comes. We are in position here. And with the queen of diamonds, we decide to just bet here as he checks it over to us. He double checks to see what we bet, and sure enough, it's the 20 bucks into 34. He's gonna think things over for a second, and we now have a gut shot to the straight. We have 2 overs, and he's just gonna make the fold. So we pick up a small pot here, but just trying to build up. And we pick up king, queen suited. We know this hand did us dirty earlier, but it was spades, and this time we have hearts, and we are in the big blind. So we're gonna raise things up to $23 when someone is raising to $10. We're gonna go 3 ways to a flop here as the initial raiser and a caller are gonna come along. So we would love to just see some hearts and just flop them dead and try to get a big payday here. They both call. We really want to make that money back from the tournament we lost. And the flop comes ace, king, 8. So we do flop middle pair. We hate to see the ace. We're gonna check, and the initial raiser ends up betting about 35 bucks, and we believe him. We think he could have an ace here and we're just dead. So we fold and show our king, and he showed pocket 8s for a set. So really glad we did not continue here or try to get tricky. Moving on to the next hand where we're the low jack, and once again, ace 10 off. I ended up going to my hand history review forum, and I asked people, I was like, how do you play ace 10 off? Because I just struggle with this hand. Well, there's a straddle of $6, some limps. So we raise things up, and there's 60 bucks in the pot. When we come to a flop that is not great, 3-8-4. We do have the 2 overs though. So we're trying to think what to do here. Someone makes a decision for us and leads out, and we're just gonna make the fold. Now we have pocket jacks, another hand that can be tough to play. We're on the gun here, we raise things up to $10. We get 2 callers, and we're gonna go to a flop that comes 4, 10, 3, 2 diamonds. I feel like this was a lot of hands we saw where it comes two-tone. We bet $12 into $31 here, and we're gonna get someone to continue here, and we get a fold. So now we have 55 in the middle. The turn comes a 7 of hearts. It's kind of hard to see what that card was, so I had to, do a little zoom action on there to make sure it was the 7 hearts. Well, it is. So now, with the turn, we bet $20 here into 55. I think I could have sized up here to price in those draws if he is on diamonds to make him maybe not continue here, or really make him pay to see another card. And the river comes the Queen of Hearts. All right, I can't remember exactly what happens in this hand, but it goes check, check, and we are good. I don't remember what he showed. I'm sorry, guys. Like I said, I didn't really record what hands that the villain ended up having just because I could see the cards. So now this is a big mistake we make, but 10-7 off, we raise things up on the button to $10, and we get a vlog watcher to make the call. It's actually the first vlog watcher that I was sat at the same table as, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Anyways, 10-5 queen, all clubs, and we're gonna go to a turn of 6 of hearts. So the action went check, check on the flop, as you guys could see. And now the big blind is gonna lead out for $11, the yo. Okay, we're gonna make the call. Let's see a river. Did I put 10-7 of spades there? Yeah, I did have 10-7 spades. Okay, now the river comes jack of hearts. All right, so he's gonna lead out once again for $11. So I gotta make the call of $11 to win $65. I should have never been in this hand, but if it folds to me on the button, I wanna play a lot of hands. Well, we make the call and he flips over king, queen. So we're gonna lose this hand, and things are just going downhill now. As we pick up pocket jacks, we still got $225 in our stack. We raise things up to 10 when the big blind is going to raise things up to $35. Could we go for the 4-bet here? I don't want to play for my cash life with pocket jacks and just shove in my remaining stack. So we just make the call, and then another villain makes the call as well. So this is a pot where we could get things back. And the flop comes ace, queen, 9. And I'm happy to see the ace, queen. That way I can get away from this hand when the big blind ends up leading out for, I believe, $35 once again. So we just make the fold, and sure enough, he had pocket 9, so he flopped a set. Next hand, we are on the button with ace jack off. There's an initial cutoff raise to $10. We're gonna 3-bet this hand every time. Ace jack off on the button, cut off, raise first in. We're raising things up to $35. And the villain who is in the big blind looks like he wants to go all in for his remaining $90, but he just makes the call. And the flop comes ace deuce 6, so we flop top pair.
you know, this is solid because there's already 80 bucks in the middle. We're gonna down bet to $25 here, and he goes all in for 106. So we have to make the $81 call, I wanna say, to win 293. And we make the call and he shows us ace queen, so we're pretty much dead unless we can get a jack. Come on, dealer, one time. I'm trying to bounce back. And the turn comes the 4 of clubs, and the river comes the 4 of diamonds. So no help there, as we are cashing out for $54. We decide to just walk away. Next video is gonna be us in the WSOP. Let's get it.
Well, just left Bally's. Pretty rough sessions. The tournament I lasted just about 2 hours, busted out right before break, which I ended up talking to my mentor after, and I asked him about the hand, you know, the king queen suited hand, and he said it's a fold pre, you know, fast. Like, this guy is saying he has jacks plus, you need to find the fold. So didn't play great in the tournament. Decided to hop in some cash since I only played for about an hour and a half, 2 hours in that tournament. Hopped in the cash, and that did not go well at all. I think the most I ever got up was about 10, 15 bucks, and then slowly just was getting drained. So overall, finished negative 40, I wish I finished negative 40. Finished negative 444 on both sessions through nearly 5 hours of play. So got absolutely wrecked today. And honestly, I did not feel confident. Like, I think I really lost a ton of confidence after I got 3-bet and I was holding jacks, and I got 3-bet and I decided to flop came, folded after the flop bet. But you know, this was the last session before Vegas, and it's kind of unfortunate because it kind of feels like it destroyed my confidence, but I'm gonna need to get that back. And you know, if you guys play poker consistently, you have 1, 2, 3 bad sessions in a row and your confidence just feels like garbage. And you just need to clear that headspace and get back to it, and, you know, study and whatnot. So, you know, I have over a week until I head to Vegas. So I gotta hit those books, hit the solvers, and, you know, go from there. But I'm absolutely stoked for Vegas. I can't wait, counting down the days. But thanks for watching, guys. Couldn't finish in the green today. You know, I feel like that's 3 sessions in a row so where I finished in the negative, but it's about to bounce back. All right, take care, everyone.